Robert, the academy is key, isn't it, in terms of that bold vision for the football club?
It absolutely is. I think that's always been the case at Everton. I think we've prided ourselves on having an industry-leading academy. So it's been true for a long time, and it's certainly true today. It's certainly one of the things I know that attracted Mr. Mashiri into the club, and you know, the investment in our academy has been substantial. It is today, and it will continue to be in the future. Yeah, absolutely, it's a key part of the club. It's also interesting. You know, you hear a lot of clubs talking about brands and about marketing and about projects, and I think one thing we do at Everton really, really well is we remain true to our roots, and that's very much around football. And of course, in that context, the academy and developing our own footballers is absolutely critical. So, you know, Everton will always be a football club, and if that's the case, then academy will always be a central feature in what we do.
And in terms of challenging ourselves to make Evertonians proud to be blue, that commitment to developing young players is at the heart of that, isn't it?
It is, and we absolutely embrace and celebrate our own players, probably ahead of signed in, bought players. You know, we can see that when we watch the games at Goodison, the empathy, the desire to see our young players do well, the celebration when they do indeed do well. It's significant, it's tangible, it's noticeable, and yeah, I think it is greater than you know, players we bought. So, you know, we celebrate homegrown talent. We do a lot to try and make Evertonians proud to be blue. Winning football matches on a Saturday afternoon is key. If we can do that with a healthy smattering of homegrown players who make a big influence on the result, then even better. I absolutely think that's what Evertonians want more than anything.
We want to see winning football with young players that we've developed.
Absolutely.
The likes of Ross Barkley, captaining the team. That's something special, isn't it?
Absolutely. You saw the extra special relationship that Ross has with our fans. You know, we hear Ross's song, we hear it on the terraces, we hear it in the service stations, we hear it in the pubs, and it just demonstrates that extra level of empathy that we have to homegrown players. Of course, you know, it's not just about that relationship with the fans, it also makes great sense economically to develop our own footballers, to take control over what they look like, how they play, how they behave. So there's lots of great reasons. The connection with the fans, the ability to shape and create a player in a mould and a model that, you know, suits the way we want to play and suits our manager. And so there are lots and lots of good reasons for supporting the academy.
We took a really radical step earlier this year as well in the appointment of Dr Peter Vint as the Academy Director. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that in terms of the call that you made initially, the process of bringing Peter here, and just the vision of appointing someone like Peter with his background into that role.
Yeah, well, I mean, the vision was, as it is across the entire club, to be the absolute best we can be and to be in amongst the best in the world. And so the vision to create the best football academy in the world is something that we absolutely aspire to. To achieve that, we have to be brave and bold and ambitious and push back boundaries, really, in terms of the resources and the skills that we want to embrace. And yes, we absolutely had a very good academy that was Category 1 status, that had good coaches, that had good core disciplines. But what we wanted to do was add some more experience, more value into that process by looking at somebody who could bring fresh things, fresh ideas, look to push boundaries, look to challenge conventional thinking, look to do things in a different way. And Peter then emerged, in our opinion, as the best in class in that group. You know, in some ways, clearly it is a brave decision to take somebody who's not a football person and give him responsibility for developing Everton stars of the future. But what we really liked about his skill set and his attitude was, first of all, his absolute commitment to standards, to levels of detail, to measurement, to empirical analysis, to putting some real rigour into the development process. And I think that was important to us. He absolutely believes in nil satis nisi optimum, and all his career at the US Olympic Committee and previous career was around that meticulous preparation, that detail, you know, and again, it's a bit of a cliche now, those marginal gains that we've seen so effectively come to bear in other sports. And it was that sort of aspiration for quality and standards that really made him stand out. Now, you know, it's also, Peter's on a very rapid learning curve in respect of the industry, the sport that he's going to be working in. And it's really important, therefore, that we put good people around him. And he has got some fantastic support. We've got a very strong established scouting team. We've got a great established coaching team. And we'll look to enhance that. From the club's perspective, from an investment point of view, Peter's always pushed at a very open door in respect of the board of directors giving him the resource and the tools to do his job. So I know he's already looking at a number of new initiatives, and he'll be coming to the board for financial support. But because, as we come right back to where we started, the academy is absolutely central to what we do, then we are very, very receptive to that new investment. So, listen, part of the club's fabric and DNA, if you like, is that pioneering spirit, that innovation, that willingness to be brave. And I think we're doing it again, but because we are so used to doing that, because that is part of our DNA, it perhaps doesn't feel quite as challenging as it might do. And you'll have heard me say this internally, Brian, what we're trying to be is the go-to club. So if other clubs, other sports want to learn how to run a ticket office, how to market a particular event, or indeed how to develop great young players, we want to be the place that they want to come and visit. And I know Peter shares that aspiration. So, we're hopeful that he will take the academy and push it on to even greater things.
And with his disparate background, he's working very collaboratively with the people here.
Absolutely.
And that's where results really can come to fruition.
The way that he had to work as part of the US Olympic Committee with probably 20, 30, 40 different sports, I don't know exactly what the number is, each based in different parts of the country, each with athletes who are operating, West Coast, East Coast, sprinters over here, cyclists over here. It was really important to him that he could bring together that geographical spread, that different technical challenge, and that's a key part of what I'm hoping is going to do at Everton. As I said before, we had good coaches, we had good scouts, we had good support systems. Perhaps one of the things that we didn't do as well as we could was bring that all together, and that's what hopefully Peter will be doing. The other thing I'd like to see him do is, because he's got such deep skills around all aspects of performance, is to try and draw upon the experience and capabilities we have around first team. And again, I think there's been a tendency, not just at Everton but in other academies, to create a very good academy, create a very good first team, and actually not really collaborate and share as well as we could. And that's because the academy is phenomenally busy and the first team's phenomenally busy. But we have amazingly talented people in rehab, in conditioning, in coaching at first team, and absolutely the challenge will be to draw upon that experience and make sure it cascades, not just down to 21s and 18s, but down to 7 and 8 year olds. Those signs are really positive and to be welcomed.
And there is a very clear, definitive development pathway as well that has emerged in terms of players having that pathway to come through into the first team.
Absolutely, and for everything I've just said, the most important thing is for great young footballers to see that there's an opportunity to be a full-time professional footballer in the academy that they're training in and working in. And you can see that at Everton probably as good as any other academy in the land. And the emergence of some of the talent we've seen in the last 18 months, 24 months is hugely impressive. And for a parent or for a young boy, it has to be, the number one decision in which academy to choose, which academy to go to. In the northwest of England, we probably have 4 or 5, 6 Category 1 academies, great academies, all heavily invested in terms of facility and coaches. But the most important thing for a parent or a young boy is, am I going to come out of this academy as a professional footballer, and hopefully a professional footballer in the Premier League, the best league in the world? I would suggest that the best place to do that right now is Everton, and I know absolutely one of the things Peter wants to do alongside Dave Unsworth and then integrating into ultimately Ronald as head coach is to make sure that pathway remains very solid, very robust and very achievable for our best young footballers.
Returning just to where we started in one sense with Ross Barkley, that's something that's a source of real pride when you see a guy who has come through, captain in his team, and it was a bit of an emotional night as well in terms of obviously Sid Benson and all that had happened in the preceding days.
Absolutely, Brian. The tributes to Sid have been fantastic, and I know they're greatly appreciated. But again, it endorses, underlines what the academy means to the lads who are here and what the academy means above all else to our fans. And Sid was a massive figure in what this academy's achieved over recent years, and will be sadly missed. And you can see how much what Ross felt about him, and that's a sentiment shared by so many Evertonians, particularly here down at the academy. It does, as you said, shows what the academy means to Everton Football Club.